Imagine your great-great-great-grandparents living in a world without books, without phones, and with very few ways to write anything down. How did they remember crucial laws, family histories, or even just where they put their tools? They couldn't just Google it, or pull out a notebook, or ask Alexa. For almost all of human history, your ancestors relied entirely on their own minds. Memory wasn't just a useful skill, it was survival. A failure to remember a treaty, a plant, or a tribal story could mean disaster for an entire community, or even lead to starvation. But here's the twist. Ancient people didn't have inherently better brains than you do. Your brain is just as capable as theirs was. Yet, they could memorize things that would utterly astound you today. Entire epic poems, the names of thousands of gods, or complex astronomical cycles. So what was their secret? It wasn't some lost ancient superfood or a hidden genetic mutation. Their secret was a technique, a surprisingly simple trick that you already instinctively use every single day without even realizing it. It's called the memory palace. The idea is ancient, going back at least to the ancient Greeks. You pick a real place you know extremely well, your house, your school, your street, even your favorite coffee shop. Then, you imagine walking through it, placing the things you want to remember at specific locations. Let's say you want to remember your grocery list. Instead of a mental list, you'd picture yourself entering your kitchen. On the counter, you see a giant, cartoonish loaf of bread dancing. Next to the fridge, a cow is wearing sunglasses, reminding you of milk. This technique, also known as the method of loci, which just means places in Latin, turns abstract information into vivid, memorable images associated with physical space. And our brains are incredibly good at remembering places and strange images. Think about it. You can probably remember the layout of your childhood home even decades later, where every piece of furniture was. But can you perfectly recite your shopping list from last Tuesday? Probably not, unless it involved a dancing loaf. Ancient orators, like the Roman statesman Cicero, used this method to remember entire speeches. They would mentally walk through a familiar villa, placing each point of their argument in a specific room or on a particular statue. It was a cognitive map for their words. And the weirder the image, the better it sticks. Our brains are wired to notice and remember things that are unusual, out of place, or emotionally charged. A mundane item placed in a familiar spot is quickly forgotten. But a giant, singing tomato on your bed? Unforgettable. This isn't just a party trick. It's a fundamental insight into how human memory works. We don't just store information as abstract facts. We store it associatively, linking new memories to old ones, often through visual and spatial cues. That's why we get déjà vu. Ancient cultures, especially those with rich oral traditions, developed these techniques to an incredible degree. Bards could recite epic poems that would take days to perform, passing them down through generations without a single written word. Their memory palaces were vast. In medieval Europe, when books were rare and expensive, scholars and monks also relied heavily on memory techniques. They used cathedrals, monasteries, and even detailed mental maps of cities as their memory palaces to store sermons, scriptures, and scientific texts. But here's a surprising connection to your modern life. You actually use this exact principle without thinking about it. Have you ever lost your keys and tried to retrace your steps, mentally walking through your morning? That's a tiny, unconscious memory palace in action. When you think, "Where did I leave my phone?" you're not just recalling a fact. You're mentally placing yourself back in the kitchen, or on the couch, or at your desk, remembering the spatial context of where the phone was last seen. Your brain naturally uses space. This innate ability to remember places is so powerful because, evolutionarily, it was crucial. Our ancient ancestors needed to remember where the food was, where the water source was, and where the predators lurked. Our brains developed to be amazing spatial navigators. So, when you turn abstract information into something concrete and located in a mental space, you're tapping into a very ancient and very powerful part of your brain. It's like tricking your brain into thinking it's remembering a survival map, not a list of facts. The reason why these visual and spatial cues are so effective is rooted in how our memory system actually works. We have different types of memory, semantic memory for facts, episodic memory for events, and spatial memory for places. The memory palace leverages several. By using locations, you engage your brain's spatial memory system, which is incredibly robust and resistant to forgetting. By making images vivid and emotional, you engage your episodic memory, which helps create strong, distinct memories. Modern research actually backs this up. Studies have shown that people who use the memory palace technique can significantly improve their memory for lists, facts, and even foreign language vocabulary. Some can even double their recallability. Even competitive memory athletes, those incredible individuals who can memorize decks of cards in seconds or thousands of digits of pi, almost universally use variations of the memory palace technique. It's the ultimate cheat code for your brain. But it's not just about raw recall. The memory palace also helps you organize information. By placing concepts in a logical path through your chosen location, you create a structured mental framework that aids understanding and retrieval. For instance, if you were studying history, you could dedicate one room of your mental house to the Roman Empire, another to ancient Egypt, and so on. Within each room, specific events or figures could be placed on furniture or walls. This method also makes learning more active and engaging. Instead of passively reading or listening, you're actively constructing a mental world. This engagement strengthens neural pathways and makes the information more deeply embedded. The best part is, you can start using it right now. Pick a familiar route, maybe your walk to work or school. Assign vivid, bizarre images to the things you want to remember, placing them along that route. The sillier, the better. So the next time you marvel at the wisdom of the ancients or wonder how people survived before Wikipedia, remember the memory palace. It's not a lost art. It's a fundamental part of how your brain wants to learn and remember, waiting for you to unlock its power. And here's the most mind-blowing fact. Some memory athletes claim to have constructed memory palaces so vast they would take years to walk through in real life, holding thousands upon thousands of pieces of information. Your brain has that capacity. Imagine being able to give an entire hour-long presentation without notes, recall every key detail of a book you've read, or even memorize a new language's basic vocabulary with ease. This isn't just for gifted people, it's a learnable skill. Even famous fictional characters like Sherlock Holmes and Hannibal Lecter are depicted using a mind palace to organize their thoughts and memories. It's entered popular culture because the concept is so inherently powerful and intuitive. So, the supermemory of the ancients wasn't magic, it was technique. They didn't have external hard drives, so they built internal ones, leveraging the brain's natural ability to map and visualize. It's a testament to human ingenuity. This simple trick fundamentally shifted how entire civilizations stored and transmitted knowledge for millennia. It shaped storytelling, education, and even legal systems. Without it, much of ancient wisdom might have been lost to time. They effectively used their imagination as a storage device, creating internal landscapes packed with information. It reminds us that our brains are far more powerful and adaptable than we often give them credit for. From the grand orations of Roman senators to the recited sagas of Viking bards, the memory palace was the hidden architecture behind their incredible feats of remembrance. It's the original cloud storage, but entirely within your mind. What if you dedicated just 15 minutes a day to practicing this technique? What forgotten knowledge could you finally master? The power is literally in your head. So, how would you start building your own memory palace? What's the first information you'd choose to store within its mental walls? Let us know in the comments below. And if you love uncovering the surprising secrets of the human mind, subscribe to Ever Wondered for more.